I'm in my light right now. This is my Jordan year. I imply that I realize this is my year. There's such a lot of continuing such countless gifts, such countless extraordinary things. This is at a point in my vocation where there's not a many individuals letting me know no, and all that's completely open, the vast majority after a separation, are like I will get in better shape. Yet I was at that point in statement of faith shape, so I must resemble okay. I surmise I'll become familiar with another dialect at any rate. A stoy in Raya God is definitely not a delegate. He is truly who he seems as though he is, and these are us, he's high fam. Seems as though an ever-increasing number of individuals are saying their pigs on this dramatization, encompassing Steve Harvey's day-to-day life. What do we expect? At any rate, you folks, even Michael B. Jordan, is jumping into the discussion. Yet for what reason is he getting involved here? What is his arrangement? And for what reason does he accept that Steve Harvey is consenting to be Marjorie's mannequin, this comic in television? Have as an easily recognized name, making loads of individuals and fans keen on his family matters. Yet for this situation, things are not looking great, since there are in every case new disclosures about the likelihood that he is simply following anything that Marjorie is advising him to do. This makes it more delightful to some, yet others are getting down on Marjorie for attempting to make all that look amazing when things are more tumultuous at the present time. Yet hold up, assuming that you are asking why Michael B. Jordan is getting caught in the family wreck then. At that point, did all of you fail to remember that he dated Lori, yes Lori, the most loved offspring of Steve Harvey, the one that the other natural offspring of Steve are getting desirous of on the grounds that she's the most number one of all? We will discuss that later on. Yet allowed us first to zero in on what occurred in the beyond couple of days in the Harvey family. So many of you presumably caught wind of the deceiving issues both Steve and his better half Marjorie have been at the center of attention. After fans began hypothesizing that Marjorie is being untrustworthy and is playing around with Steve's protector from that point forward, an ever-increasing number of reports begin to go around yet that, as well as fascinating subtleties from their past relationships, are unexpectedly re-emerging too. In addition, in view of this relationship wreck, individuals are beginning to address why Steve is so enthusiastic about offering relationship guidance whenever his own marriage is currently wrecked. Odds are he is simply attempting to maintain his image and notoriety. Yet as a general rule, what they have isn't so wonderful as they believe. It should resemble mother like girl. Well, still you don't merit this genuinely, so Steve, why articles like this and more discussed how Marjorie has forever been after Steve's cash every step of the way. We has a whole skill Steve reveres and acclaims Marjorie on public television all the time. It appears as though he is so enamored with her that he disregarded a ton of things about her, including her reliability and disposition. As I've referenced, Marjorie is presently blamed for having an unsanctioned romance with Steve's guardian. Yet that isn't the finish of it, in light of the fact that evidently Marjorie isn't finished subsequent to playing with the protector, so she cheated for the subsequent time. And this time it was with Steve's own cook. To make things seriously fascinating, huge blast Freeman, Steve Harvey's protector, was additionally a similar man who helped the couple to reconnect. For the people who don't realize, Steve and Marjorie have known one another since the 90s. Steve was quickly drawn to her since their most memorable gathering. Yet I surmise the inclination was not common around then, on the grounds that Steve was still yet to be renowned and was all the while battling to become famous in the business. Though Marjorie is as of now used to being ruined by her man, having been connected to a medication master. Her most memorable spouse was Jim Townsend. It is just a given that she was ready to have the extravagant life that she needs, and well gander at her presently persistently carrying on with that sort of way of life, on the grounds that Steve can at long last give it to her. That is the reason whenever the opportunity came, and they had the option to get together again through Freeman, Marjorie took the risk and engaged Steve the second time around that he showed revenue in her. Steve Discuss this prior to as per him. He let me know look the possibly time I've at any point seen you cheerful was the point at which you were with that lady Marjorie now. Before you proceed to accomplish something dumb and wed another lady, I'm calling her this had fans, marking that all through those years. Marjorie and Steve's guardian stayed in contact, so does this imply that they are a lot nearer than Steve anticipated, that they should be supposedly various sources that are uncovering things about Marjorie are individuals near Michael B. Jordan. I let you know folks individuals are singling out Marjorie's past relationships gracious. By the way, when her most memorable husband got captured, Marjorie was likewise examined by the FBI. However, they found nothing to connect her to her then. At that point, husband's criminal operations, she was still entirely problematic. In those days, as a result of her connection to Townsend, what is more regrettable is the way that her subsequent husband was very much like Townsend, not much of subtleties were shared about what went down among Marjorie and Darnell Woods on the grounds that both hushed up about their separation. Yet yes, you see, she was related with men who were unlawful substance sellers. I mean, not once yet, 2 times in any case. Lori was supposed to be Darnell's girl with Marjorie. She never discussed the dad of Lori, yet as we as a whole know at this point, she was additionally embraced by Steve Harvey. He even gave Marjorie's kids his last name, Harvey. We're here at the front, right by the stage. So we were staying here, the stage was here. So he's simply calm, he continues gazing at me, so I'm looking out for him to make me a piece of the show. So we can continue ahead with the show, so he remained silent, so lengthy, gazing at me now. Everyone in the club is taking a gander at me, thus he at last acknowledged, "Doug, I got to say something." He resembled gracious, "I'm sorry. I don't have any idea what this identity is. Nevertheless, I will wed her." Concerning Marjorie and Steve's relationship and the way in which they met, they have discussed it on various occasions. Currently, that was so sweet of Steve. And starting from whenever he first saw her, he realized that she was an ideal person for him. Yet Marjorie disagrees that time since he was not yet as famous now. Yet hello, Marjorie's pass isn't the main thing that fans are examining in light of the fact that even Steve's previous connections have likewise been muddled. When I think about how rapidly he pushed ahead from me to Marjorie, that was upsetting. Recollect her marry the second spouse of Steve. Very much, let us say, that they didn't finish strong. Mary had blamed Steve for betraying her on various occasions in those days, when they were all the while handling their separation. Likewise, she didn't stop there, since she even guaranteed that one of the young ladies that Steve messed around with was Marjorie. Would they be able to stand by yet? Folks, both parties deserve equal credit here, right? So Steve could have been excessively perky. Yet fans are saying that Marjorie was in it too, that it is conceivable that she had everything arranged out to have Steve modify herself. She presumably acknowledged how profoundly intrigued Steve was to her to that end. She did that. Many even estimated that Marjorie controlled Steve to make him say that Mary was the miscreant in the story, and that each allegation of hers was completely false. Kid, I certainly ensure they have an extraordinary relationship with that kid. Yet I don't understand how Marjorie specifically can call himself a mother to her own youngsters and purposely attempt to undermine my relationship with Cash. She was not by any means the only one who disapproved of Marjorie. May I remind you all, truly we won't ever know how these individuals truly act behind the cameras. So presently let us discuss Steve's relationship with the children. He has forever been so centered around Lori, more than his own children. It isn't shocking, truly, on the grounds that who else could be behind this. Obviously, it was all Marjorie's arrangement to make her youngsters Steve's need. It was forever Marjorie's kids, with Steve on getaways, and truly flawless family pictures. I didn't actually have my father full-time into my life until I was 16. Right, come on, despite the fact that Steve made up with Broderick, he ought to, in any case, be somewhat more delicate with regards to his natural kids. He on one of our yearly dad-girl dates in my #1 Japanese eatery. And you recently began conversing with me about folks. And he just let me know that you know generally upheld me. And you'd constantly show up for me regardless of anything, yet you cherished me, genuinely fortunate Lori. She generally had a good time times with Steve additionally. He is generally so defensive of her, you know. When Rory and Michael B. Jordan tapped out Steve was promptly to the salvage and tossed conceal on Michael B. Jordan insiders near Michael are guaranteeing that he has forever been dicey that Marjorie and Steve are being certified with what they put out on television and via virtual entertainment. It is generally so natural to counterfeit things online additionally. Fans are saying that Marjorie never truly